Okay, so let's start with where you see the state of play with 5 GSA. What do you see in the markets?
Yeah, no, thanks. And I was listening uh, the previous presenter
Yeah.
talking about how the progress of the 5G has been made so far, and I 100% agreed on the positive side of it, meaning that by the course of the years, a lot of new things has been made and the ecosystem has been progressing. Still, also what has been highlighted before by Luke, there are still some gaps. And without spoiling the next panel, later on, I think the 5G has been facing some challenge. The 5G SA adoption has been facing some challenge in the last 10 years. I still remember in 2015, 2016, when we have been hoping and believing and pushing for a standalone 5G as the new business expansion. Still, a lot of people looking for the killer apps that was making this 5G SA successful and paying back the investment. 10 years down the road, we're still looking for it. I'm pretty sure that my colleagues later will mention a lot of good cases because I think that there are some positive trend, but still there are gaps. And some of those are not a single source or a single point of challenge. So there is no a single point of failure in the chain, but definitely the ecosystem has been evolved step by step with certain capability. Which, looking backwards, I think that 10 years we have been visionary, but not having yet the full technology availability or the full readiness of the solution. I think now, 2026 and going forward, the 6G, you made a question also about how the 6G is going to be. I think that between now and before the 6G will come across, this year will be the one where all the full adoption of the full cloud native, the full AI implementation, the full ecosystem readiness will be made. The silicon will be made available, hopefully resolving the silicon challenge for the mass adoption of 5G SA.
So really, you feel like it's taken maybe longer than we thought, as mentioned when speaking
Mhm.
to Luke, for the kind of ecosystem to develop and come together. And I guess it's not only about the individual parts
Yeah.
being ready, but it's also figuring out how they work together because this is new territory, right?
Yes, correct. And one of the additional things also, sometimes we generalize, as we are focused on a European, uh, by the title of our session in Mobile Europe, comparing that readiness across the world, there is clearly some differences between what the operator readiness was in the US, for example, in the North America market, where by definition they start already cloud native. And that's applied, and it's quite evident, for example, for those that has been following in the last years, the O-RAN, V-RAN disaggregation. I mean, for the North America, for the American market, was easier to look at disaggregating even on the RAN side because they had a not the same legacy of 2G, 3G that was impacting Europe and many other geographies in the world. So transforming a non-cloud native technology into a full cloud native is a challenge. And radio an advantage to be easily adopted to. That is also one of the reasons, even on the Orange side, all the other European has been slowing down. And the same apply to core. On a core side, the US had an advantage to be already Kubernetes cloud native focus, while the European market had a lot of, as I said, a lot of legacy beyond that. So transforming that was a stepwise toward VNF, so virtual machines, which eventually came through, I would say, almost 100% all over, but that's created a new legacy because moving from VNF to CNF has created another legacy. So transforming those applications from virtualized to cloud native was the next challenge to be solved.
Do you think that challenge has been solved? I mean, we're seeing a lot more deployments now, but I think it's not simply, as I referred to the UCLA and OMDIA research right at the beginning of this event, that deployment isn't about necessarily commercializing it and optimizing it. I mean, it's a big cultural thing within an organization as well to move to cloud-based, surely.
Yeah. Well, again, another very good point, Annie. And of course, I'm pointing now to one direction, which is the VNF to CNF, or more the technology angle. But it's not only that. I mean, Kubernetes per se, as many people say it and repeat, is not the solution of the challenge. I mean, moving and transforming workload into a Kubernetes ready application is not the only challenge, because then transforming that in a cloud native means a lot of other implication, which is one of those is exactly the operational aspect, is about the way you expect that those to be maintained and managed in a life cycle way, in terms of fully automating the procedure, and so forth and so on. So all these will be, different aspect that we may discuss later with the colleagues, but these are multiple phases of the same dimension of transforming cloud native, the architecture of our networks. Which again, I'm very positive. I'm very believing that we are making the right steps and we are getting there. But it took a while, as I said at the very beginning. We've been hoping that to be before pre-pandemic, before 2020.
Yeah.
It took a while. Probably the pandemic did not help as well. But
No.
then between 2020 and now, we are now catching up.
Okay. I also referenced, how do you think things are going to change when you're saying things are catching up and we're seeing changes? What sort of horizon are you looking at, Nico? Are you looking at the next year or two, 2030, beyond? Give us some idea of how you see that landscape evolving. Sort of how quickly do you think we're going to see change in what telcos offer based on 5G SA deployment?
Mm, mm. Yeah, there are, well, in my opinion, there are a few dimensions to be maturing to make it that adoption faster, quicker. One is the technology angle we see now. Um, a lot of people joking about I should have invest on Nvidia stocks years back to be a millionaire now. But it's not. It's just an example. I mean, Nvidia, but anyone that has, you see now the Nokia stocks, they triple, and they're probably gonna be four times. So everybody focus on AI is now on. Is it gonna be the next big wave and the next big things where everybody's investing? And it's not only, is it that another internet bubble? Is it another just a financial speculation bubble? Probably, meaning that there are a lot of high expectation, but at the same time, technology is here. So the positive things, in my opinion, is that AI is driven by real technology availability. And the AI technology will be one of the key enablers to make that transformation happening. Uh, with the technology at our hand, we can realize something that in the past, the 5GSA was just envisioning, but not being able to deliver. And so many of the use cases I listened before about the slicing and intelligently allocating quality of service and utilization of networks asset, everything like that will be super automated and super managed by AI technology. And that, while that was, as I said, futuristic before, now is reality and is there. And we do have technology, and we do have a lot of companies that are investing on those technologies. So I'm pretty sure that will materialize, and that's what push the market demand. Again, another example before was about the automotive. Yes, I'm pretty sure that later on my colleagues will mention some good use cases. all these use cases will drive customer demand, and customer demand will drive operator to invest. I'm expecting a positive cycle in the next 2, 3 years. Yes.
You're expecting a new product cycle in the next 2 to 3 years.
Yes.
Okay. And talking about AI, which we do a bit as though it's a standalone topic in a way, but actually, really, the point is, I guess, where it's embedded and for what purpose, and also how tricky it is to integrate. And that brings us to issues about data readiness and all sorts of things. I mean, what do you see as the biggest hurdles to implementing AI to enable this new product cycle? I mean, where do you think the real challenges are?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Let me see where I can start. Tom, I just mentioned that the technology dimension, apart from the scarce availability of the silicon, which again is something that is heavily affecting the industry and investment, but assuming that the silicon and the production will keep going at the rate of the past, we are going to have technology availability, in my opinion, for mass deployment. The real challenge of the AI is the more we move into what is called physical AI, or the very far edge of the AI implementation, we will reach out what, for example, in WindRiver, we call it the intelligent edge. And where the intelligent edge is basically every single device, can be a camera, can be a drone, can be a robot's arm, can be everything that is the last device connected into a super connected networks, intelligent networks. So that's distributed AI intelligence will require multiple things. One, low latency, because the more those devices will be acting and operating in real time, the capability to take decision at that side, which will not be operated remotely. So the intelligence has to be on that side, so on that device. So if the intelligent and the inference and the agentic AI is taking decision on site, that has to be operating in a, not the speed of light, but in a very low, ultra low
Pretty
latency.
close in some instances. Sorry,
Sorry.
I was going to
No,
say might need to be pretty close to the speed of light in some
yeah,
instances.
yeah, no, yeah, exactly. And depending also if that is a mission critical, yes, it is, has to be. And so latency. The second has to be self-healing, because again, cannot be disconnected from the entire the networks of the devices and the other uh, devices that eventually are contributing or informing the same remote intelligent point. So everything has to be self-healing in a way that is able to operate independently and being connected back when it's needed. And thirdly, I would say that is the last implication is clearly the fact that it means you need to have a highly geo-distributed cloud or networks, which is able to be flexibly allocated, distributing workload, distributing intelligence and distributing information, as well as being fully automated and capable to scale in and scale out, but also to be upgraded, maintained, operated in a super faster manner. So in a super orchestrated way. So all these three dimensions will be driven further down by AI. So the more AI will be implemented, the more these three dimensions will become super, super critical.
And I mean, is this where you see the big opportunity for telco in this highly distributed cloud environment?
Indeed, indeed, because
Because
at the end,
cloud
yeah,
companies are incredibly centralized.
yeah, well, that is
Hyperscalers,
exactly
I mean.
that is another interesting point, Danny, because telco has a privileged and unique capability to be present into the market, present into the geographies where they operate, and physically connected to uh, to the consumer in case it's a consumer market, but also to the business. So as they have in-country direct connectivity and connection to those um, business users. So I think that the operator, they have a privileged position compared to any other players in the market to fully deploy at scale these highly distributed AI networks.
So this is
Um,
because they've got that infrastructure already, that highly
Correct.
distributed infrastructure.
Correct. And that is also, in my opinion, is explaining also the logic of why ORAN used to be, so interesting in the past. I would say the new name of ORAN is AI RAN,
Yeah.
if you allow me to say, because AI RAN is the new version of an highly cloud distributed RAN version. Now it's not only open, but it's AI driven.
So it's highly controllable. Is that the kind of key
Correct,
here?
correct. And then on top, you can put all the AI use cases because that will be one of the semi-last point of connectivity that the operator will have it.
Sorry, say that last bit again. I didn't quite catch.
One of the last semi-final, meaning that probably is not really the final because the radio site can be either the last point of connection for the consumer or can be the semi-final because then after that there will be some
Ah,
other,
the micro devices.
network distribution to the devices or sorry,
Sorry.
or business user that will be connected into the radio site for further private networks connectivity or whatever.
And what about on the telco side? How do you feel from your position that telcos are responding to this opportunity? Are they super excited? Are they cautious? Are they both?
uh, I they are. The economy at the moment is not facilitating anyone. And again, the geo difference I made before between the US, the European, and the APAC, all the other market, is driving certain investment from an operator point of view. Um, Americas and North America, especially, are clearly driven by more favorable economies. So investment, if you ask me, are they? Yes, the simple answer is yes. Uh, are European operator looking at that? Yes, but there is a very conscious risk assessment, the pros and cons. I think that the simple answer is yes, but in reality, everybody need to have a calculated risk. So the return on investment has to be severely calculated. As we mentioned before, the cost of operation, the benefit that you are getting has to be evaluated and to be verified in order to really put that investment. And the third, the operator, especially in Europe, they have been a little bit, they burned their finger in the 5G, in the 4G first, and then in the 5G era when they have been pushed to invest, they promised to get, a fantastic return on investment that was not materialized. It took a long time for the return. So everybody that is requested to make further investment is always conscious that is it the right move now? Everybody knows that 6G will be, by definition, cloud native and will be driving AI use cases by default. But when you do the leap, do you do now? Do you wait another 2 years or do you wait the 6G to come? I think that the majority of the operator, the big one in Europe at least, so Vodafone, Deutsche Telekom, Orange, Telefonica, they are all doing that in some steps to get ready for, not for making the big leap, but to make the right preparation. But they're not, I would say, accelerating like in other geographies.
I thought it was interesting. I spoke to Scott Petty at Vodafone, I think at the beginning of the year, and that in the first half of the current financial year, the earnings report for the first time, AI's impact on the balance sheet was included. It wasn't in numbers as in it saved us 2 million euro, but percentage improvements. But I still thought that was quite an interesting step and a sign of the times that um,
Yep.
Vodafone feels that it ought to be included in their
Yeah.
figures.
Yeah. No, no, interesting point you raise. There are some consolidated financial numbers in terms of consumer uh, business, in terms of enterprise and private business between voice and data. Probably reporting AI revenue will be the next reporting item in the booking because AI will definitely drive the massive request to the supplier to provide AI and especially if you don't talk about the generic AI, which is the one everybody eventually uses as a free or having some personal subscription or company subscription, there will be a need for some private or sovereignty cloud, as everybody call now, intelligence. So a personalized, dedicated AI access. And again, there is another streams of revenue that the operator will be definitely put on their investment to further boost this market demand. So I'm expecting, yes, I think that this is a great point.
Okay, and what do you think is particular, Nico, about AI's application to 5G SA? How do you think that's a really potentially a really big step forward for telcos in terms of additional revenues? Or maybe, again, something I thought was interesting in talking to Vodafone was that their stated aim is to be the world's most efficient telco, which I thought was quite interesting, actually. And Scott said, well, that's the basis of making a success of absolutely everything else.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I'm very conscious of the my colleagues panel, and I will let the colleagues that are more focused on the operator side to comment more on the revenue part and the business opportunity. AI will bring. I have a multiple use case or ideas, but I will suggest that I'm focusing more on the the benefit AI will brings into the network side. Um, for those that has been spending some years in this industry, may remember TM Forum has been driving these, four levels, huh? Up, well, actually level five, huh?
Yeah.
Level one, two, three, four, up to the fully autonomous networks and programmable networks. Um, Level one and two is something that majority of the operator has been doing in one way or the others. Few are already moving into executing level three automation, moving to the autonomous domain. Innovative operators are experimenting level four in some areas, not network wide, but to make it a massive adoption of level four, you need to have AI. AI will be the enabler to make the networks really fully automated and autonomous in some extent. So the target is that AI will be will be materializing, realizing what the TM forum and the industry has been hoping and waiting to make it happen. Again, the material, the procedure, the ideas, the blueprint was already there, so it's nothing new. The fact that the technology, as I said before, agentic AI and the intelligence that the inference can generate in terms of knowledge database and faster uh, response of the GPUs will trigger time to resolve and time to solution, which, sorry,
I
my
know.
voice today
All right.
is pretty bad. Yeah.
All right.
The time to resolve and the speed of taking decision will be, yeah, uncomparable to the past. Before we were talking about 15 minutes. um, data collection, 5 minutes data collection. Now we're talking about less than a minute and in milliseconds. So we need to take a faster, quicker, not only data collection, but even decision, which are going to be really almost real time, which is something that in the past was just ideated but not realized. So AI
Okay,
will drive that. Yeah?
so it's going to maybe allow us to do a lot of things we've been thinking about for a long time, networks like it,
Correct.
slicing, better, with more granular control and to offer more parameters, say, to customers, all because of what the AI is bringing to the network.
Correct. Correct. So on one side, you will have the cloud native technology. So the 5G SA technology that per se, it's enabling a cloud native. So the function and the architecture will provide data in a fast, quicker, better, reliable way compared to the past. And then you have AI, which is also the way you make the inference and the knowledge consolidation to take decision and action real time. So when you combine the two, that is exactly what the AI will drive on top of 5G SA.
If you had one piece, if you could give your telco customers a single piece of advice about how to move forward with 5G SA, this is a bit mean, Nico, putting you on the spot. Um, if you could give them one piece of advice, what do you think that would be?
Yeah, I don't want to repeat myself, or for me, it's the sooner the better. Try to do your cloud native journey, if not already done, but accelerating. Be ready with your operational team. I was talking with a couple of friends in the operator and DevOps. For me, it's key. Having an engineering capability that is having a design and operation mindset in one single department. Sometimes silos in the operator are limiting barriers to make handover into the technology adoption. So having really a DevOps mindset inside the operator will be key. So do it and do it in a DevOps way. And then, of course, bring the right partners.
Yes. Okay, so if I had to give them one piece, it'd be focused on the outcome, not the technology. But
Yes,
that's something you could apply to just about
yes.
everything. And
And then, of course,
Nico,
choose wise the right partners, as I said, of course.
that is always a tricky challenge in life as well as
Yes,
business. Nico,
indeed.
thank you very much for that. Interesting. There's a lot of really interesting stuff we'll unpick, and we will, of course, be publishing the videos in the fullness of time in the next few days, we hope. So I think there's a lot to go back and mine in there. Thank you very much indeed.